Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hypnosis for Actors, Part 1. I'll be doing several of these. And why am I doing this? Because it's two of the things I love. I've been a hypnotist for over 30 years, 35 years, but I've been an actor for over 40. Went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts after I got out of the military. I was an actor in LA for a while. There was an addiction issue. It took me a while to sober up. And during that time, I became an alcohol and drug counselor. Kept doing acting, mostly theater, all theater, community, regional, a lot of dinner theater, and kept that up, in Northwest Indiana, in Chicago, and here in Florida. But I've always done the NLP and hypnosis. So what I thought I would do today is just do a quick overview of what hypnosis is, why it works so well for actors. And as a person that bridges both worlds, like I say, I'm directing a play now. I've been in lots of plays and lots of film. And so let's talk about why hypnosis is so good for actors and why it's misunderstood. So let me just start with why hypnosis is so good for actors, right? Push this out of the way. Okay. Well, hypnosis is good for actors because if you've acted a lot, or even if you're new to it, you get those moments on stage or on set where it's like magic, right? It's like, whoa. And sometimes you can't even remember why you did what you did. It was like magical. You were in the zone, right? And that's what actors talk about, being in the moment. Well, actually, it's just like if you've ever had the pleasure of doing improv, either on stage, like in an improv class, or during this, I was on a set and the director, we did the scene the way it was written, which was great. And he got a couple takes of that and he goes, okay, let's just do it a couple times and just kind of use the script, kind of just improv, see where it takes you. And he ended up using a couple of those takes rather than the totally pre-scripted ones because it was more organic, more fun. The other actor that was in the scene with me, actress actually, she was really into it, and it just kind of. And when you see the two clips, I wish I had those. You'd see one where it was good, but it looked a little scripted. The other one was more. They say what acting is being real in improbable situations. So why does hypnosis work so well for this? Well, really quickly, it's based on how your mind works, right? A lot of us have heard the saying that we only use a small percentage of our minds, like 10%, right? Actually, use all your mind. If you didn't, your brain would be 90% smaller. Or obviously, in this day and age in the US, if you only used a small part of your mind, you'd probably be in Congress or working in Washington, D.C. But you use all of your mind, but only about 10% consciously, right? And it's the part of your mind that's analytical, right? Analytical, it's rational, right? It's not emotional. It seems to do things in sequence, right? Which is fine. And you've all seen actors that they'll do the lines letter perfect, but it's just not very organic, right? And so, but that's your conscious mind, right? But you got to use your conscious mind to get to the subconscious mind. This is where the emotions are, right? Emotions, right? It's where your true feelings, if you will, right? Your beliefs, right? Your attitudes, all of these things are subconscious, right? And your long-term memory. Consciously is short-term memory. And so, especially if you ever do a play where you got to do a couple of hours worth of script and it's all no do-overs, no like cut, let's retake, it's got to be live. You have to put all those lines in your long-term memory, which takes repetition. So down here is where the magic happens, right? And whether it's acting, whether it's a sport, anytime that you need to be in the moment, in the zone, that is what we need to do with to get the critical factors out of the way, right? I've had many directors tell me when I was in acting classes, especially, quit thinking, just do it, which is good to say. A lot of us have had that experience, but it's hard to do. You know, you're when you first couple times you're doing a scene, you're up here. You're just running the lines. You're working on this, getting your blocking, and then if you get good enough, and it happens, you drop down here where it's just like magical. So that's a little bit about why hypnosis is so good for actors and why we want to use this. So let's just and so and there's some myths about hypnosis. That you got to be asleep, right? That you got to be very deep, that you won't remember what happens during a hypnosis session, right? You may or may not, but every once in a while, and I've helped thousands of people stop smoking with hypnosis. I used to do a lot of we used to call them the road shows, stop smoking hypnosis seminars in, hotels and stuff back in the, right after the late 90s, early 2000s, right? And every once in a while, people say, I need you to put me really deep. Well, going really deep has nothing to do with whether it's going to be effective. Right? Same with, I know it didn't work because I remember everything you said. How do you're still going to remember at least parts of it, right? So it's not magical. It's just that light, droopy, I call it like the droopy, drowsy state that you're in right before you fall asleep at night or right when you're waking up in the morning, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to go to that. And today I thought we'd work on two things, which is letting go of the conscious mind, just kind of getting into the flow, letting things happen. And with that, a little bit about memory. So you can, free up your memory, right? Which a lot of times it's a big challenge when I'm always fascinated, or anybody else. I'd love this in the comments if people watch this in the replay, to post it in the comments or on YouTube. Why is it I can do a play and remember long scenes with other actors or even on stage by yourself, basically 90 pages of dialogue from the time the curtain goes up to you're done, pretty much remember all that. And then suddenly I'm in a film where you're doing, 2 to 6 pages in a day and you can't seem to remember the lines, which actually is counterintuitive because on stage, once you start, there's no do-overs, there's nobody to give you a line. And if you've done film, sometimes if you get stuck, you can just freeze and they'll give you the line and then you can keep going, or they can cut, reset, and start over, right? So actually, you should be more nervous on stage than on set. But for most people, it's the opposite. So it has to do with your thinking too much. And to release your memory, you have to remove the cortisol, right? There's an old rule in sports, the harder you try, the harder it becomes. And you always hear athletes talk about, I have to quit thinking so much and just enjoy the game, right? Fans will go, you're making all this money. You should be, what do you mean, just enjoy the game? But what it means is to just go with the flow. And so whether it's sports or acting, dancing, singing, you really can't think fast enough to keep up and keep going. So let's just get started. And so wherever you're at, if you're watching this or listening to this, make sure you don't need your conscious awareness. So you're not driving a car or using, like heavy equipment, anything you need your conscious awareness for. And we're only going to do this very quickly. The other big myth about hypnosis I forgot to put up there is it takes a long time to go into trance. We can go into trance very easily, and it doesn't take, 15 minutes of suggestion for stuff to work. It all is based on, all the success is really wanting it to happen. Wanting whatever you're working on, your memory or getting your conscious mind out of the way to be able to do better, improvisation or ad libs, things like that. The more you want it and the more you're willing to just let go, the more effective this will become. So what I'm going to do is, again, only listen to this if you're like not driving your car, not doing anything else, because I know a lot of us will put on videos as like background as you're driving or something. So I had to get the little prerequisite out of the way. So now let's just have some fun, right? So what I want you to do, and in a moment I'm going to turn my camera off because you don't need to see me, but let's start with this. Before you do that, is I'd like you to, wherever you're at, just kind of, you can see my fingers right in front of my face, right? Now think about your biggest fears about acting, about being an actor, uh, whatever your fears are, especially if it's like, forgetting your lines or not being in the moment, not letting go. And as you think about your biggest fears, look at my fingers and then just keep your head still, only move your eyes and follow my fingers, right? Just thinking about the fear, right? And then we'll have it look straight up, look down to one side, look down to the other side, then up. And then just keep thinking about your fears, whatever they happen to be, not being spontaneous, not letting go, and then kind of just follow this way. Good. Now take a deep breath, close your eyes. Think about an actor that's really good at what you want, not just remembering lines, but maybe being more spontaneous, letting go, being able to just go with the flow, improv things, and do it like magic. And then think about that person, and again, follow, picture them, whoever that actor or actress is, right? And again, it's a skill they had to learn. Some of it's, innate, but a lot of it, you learn more by doing than thinking about it, right? Now look straight up, look straight down. Now take a deep breath and close your eyes. I'll be stopping the video. So I want you to focus on your breathing. Just keep focusing on your breathing. With every breath that you take and every beat of your heart, just let yourself relax, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, all I'm going to do is have you open and close your eyes very quickly. But each time I say relax, you'll just close your eyes and go deeper and deeper. But imagine lending me the use of your imagination. That's right, the part of you that gets lost in a book or a movie when you're reading a script, you get lost in it. Or those times where you get lost in any kind of activity. That's your creative mind. That's what we want to access. Lend me that use of that imagination. Imagine everything's going to happen exactly the way I say. Now take a deep breath, open your eyes, and just relax. Close your eyes and go deeper and deeper. From the top of your head to the tips of your toes, closing your eyes, going deeper and deeper. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, just relax. Now your eyes are so loose, so limp, so relaxed, they barely want to open. But go ahead and open your eyes a tiny bit and just sleep, relax, go deeper and deeper. In fact, your eyes are so loose, so limp, so relaxed, they just don't want to. So loose, so limp, so relaxed, they just don't want to. Now go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, letting it work. Now your eyes are so loose, so limp, so relaxed, they don't want to open. In fact, imagine your eyes are glued shut, stapled shut. Your eyes will not open. In fact, the more you try to open your eyes, the more tightly shut they become. The more you try to open your eyes, the more tightly shut they become. Imagine, lend me that imagination and imagine they're glued shut. Your eyebrows wiggle, but your eyes won't open. So go ahead and try, but you can't, try, but you can't, and just relax. Good. Now this is a light relaxation, which is all that we want. This is the physical relaxation from the top of your toes, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes and back up. And I'm just going to count from 5 to 1. And all I want you to do is imagine a wave washing up over you and washing back down again. Like, being in a nice, warm, hot tub where you just slide into the water, it washes over you and relaxes you. So 5, just let that wave wash up over you and wash back down again, taking you deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper. That's right. Good. 4, letting go, going all the way down, physical, mental, emotional relaxation. 3, going deeper and deeper. In fact, you're just losing the numbers now. It doesn't really matter. 2, going all the way down. And 1, just let go. And because it's what you want, what you need, and what you desire, nothing can hold you back. Nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you from succeeding in a way that will surprise and delight you. So what I'd like you to do is you become so deeply relaxed, so relaxed that your subconscious mind is accepting everything that we put into it because it's what you want, what you need, and what you desire. You'd like a better memory as an actor. And you'd like to be able to enter into those magical states of spontaneity, of just being real, being love. And so your mind opens up, the subconscious mind takes these in as lasting impressions, so deep, so permanent that nothing will erase it because it's what you want, what you need, what you desire. Consequently, everything we put into your subconscious mind will begin to affect things in a way that will surprise and delight you. Your feelings, your thoughts, your attitudes, your memory improves, everything begins to change. And because these things will remain firmly embedded in your subconscious mind long after this session is over, you begin to exercise greater and greater influence over your thoughts, over your actions, over your beliefs, over your behaviors. You become a much better actor instantaneously because you're able to let go, to call on the memories of the lines and the things you need to do, but make it spontaneous, live, and fun, just as powerfully as it's happening right now. And you're so relaxed, so deeply relaxed, that all of these things happen the way we say, because it's what you want. You begin to experience times where you're able to easily and effortlessly slip into magical moments on stage, on set, just as powerfully, just as easily as they happen to the biggest name stars of stage and screen that you can think of. And you begin to feel physically stronger and fitter in every way. You feel more alert, more awake, because you're much more optimistic, more upbeat. Every day you become focused on what you're doing. So you're able to get rid of the conscious fears and focus on having fun. And so you don't doubt yourself. You're able to let your nerves become stronger and steadier, your mind calm and composed and tranquil. So starting now and for the rest of your life, you're better able to think more clearly. You're better able to slip into those moments of magic and spontaneity on stage and on set, right? You're able to do that because you have a laser-like focus where your conscious mind gets out of the way. Much like a real conversation having as a friend, the lines seem spontaneous and natural. So consequently, because we're doing this, your memory improves. Your memory drastically improves. You recall things at will, your blocking, your lines, the breakdown of your script, how you want to punctuate what words, all of those things. And you're able to see things in their true perspective. So you were able to recall information easily, effortlessly, subconsciously. You don't even have to think about it. Every day you become and you remain more completely relaxed, especially on set, on stage, in rehearsals, or even in acting classes, mentally, physically, emotionally. So you become and you remain more confident in yourself and your ability to do what you need to be able to do without fear of failure, without fear of consequence. You're able to take some chances and have some fun. And you feel more independent because you're able to tap into that. So starting now for the rest of your life, you feel a greater feeling of personal safety and security than you've ever felt, especially on set or on stage. And so starting now and for the rest of your life, you begin to let these things happen. And now what I'd like you to do is think about the actor or actress that you greatly admire. And as you're watching them, you realize they too started somewhere. And they too were at whatever point of their career that you happen to be now. And you know, because you respect and admire these people, that what did they do it? Maybe they took acting classes. Maybe they had an acting coach. Maybe they just practiced, practiced, and took chances. Because as one of my favorite actors once said, you're only as good on set or on stage as sometimes you got the guts to be bad when you're practicing, to try new things, to be spontaneous, to have fun. So as you're seeing this person, you know that it took them a while to develop those beliefs, those attitudes, and those skills. Right? And you see their energy, their aura up on that mind's eye. So imagine like a movie screen, and you see this actor doing what they're doing. And you see their charisma, their energy, their aura, and you know that they did all this homework back in, taking classes, doing the rehearsals, being open to coaching and direction. And now what I'd like you to do because they share this information with us. It's like we're going to start that movie over, except their picture's out and you see yourself up there, but they left their energy, their aura, their strategies, their beliefs, and their confidence. And you see yourself doing everything your model did. And you realize as you're doing this that you too have practiced, you've taken classes, maybe you've had acting coaches, maybe you've taken direction, submitting a self tape, and they give you some direction of try this, or you audition for a play, and the director says, can you do this a little more angry or whatever? And so you've done a lot of what your model did, except it hasn't come to fruition yet. So now take a deep breath and step into this movie. Make it real. See, hear, and feel it even as you're watching it in your mind, knowing that you've done a lot of the homework, a lot of the practice that made this person so good. And because of this, you feel wonderful. You feel absolutely fabulous. So never again will you want to go backwards. Never again. So take one more deep breath, step into that movie and begin to feel spontaneous and live and real and interactive. The memory improves drastically and you see yourself grow exponentially as an actor starting now and for the rest of your life. In fact, the more you try to fight it, the more it begins to happen second nature. Good. Now, one last time, take a deep breath, replay all of this in your mind, and maybe either make a fist or an okay sign, something that you can use right before you hear action, right before you step on the stage, whatever, right before you need, you just fire this, we call it an anchor. Taking a deep breath and making the okay sign or making the fist, right? So take a deep breath, make that fist and feel those feelings now. Good. All right. Now I'm going to count from 1 to 5, bring you back. But you come back feeling better than before. 1, coming on up. 2, drifting to the surface. 3, wide awake, clear-headed, refreshed. 4, letting this happen. And 5. Open your eyes, come on back. Good. So what I'd like you to do now is replay this a couple times. It's also available on YouTube. I'll put the YouTube link or where to get the YouTube link in the comments wherever you happen to be watching this, and just practice, 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 and look for the next, hypnosis for actor, which will be about about different specific things, body control, emotional projection, right? Well, one of my favorites is doing less but impacting more, right? Letting the emotions flow through you, not trying to overdo them. All of those things that we've heard in acting and that. So wherever you're watching this, make sure you subscribe and have fun with this. And if you have any suggestions, just put them in the comments and maybe that'll be the next topic. Thank you.